Are you ready?
Starting now?
Oh, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober, Not Mature.
Hi there.
And, yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. In this episode, we actually have something, well, hopefully for once we have something fun going on. We have a guest. We've got Carly back with us from episode 83, I think we figured out last time, right, Mike?
Okay.
So, and we have Mike not feeling well. So
greetings from the infirmary.
Well, and here's the fun part. I talk a lot anyhow, so that's probably not going to be a problem. We won't have a problem filling space with Carly and I, and then me for the rest of the episode, so we're good. But Carly, thank you obviously for coming back on with us. We truly appreciate it. Everyone, go back and also listen to episode 83. That was Carly and Breeze. You'll get to hear both of their stories. Also, how Carly basically attacked Breeze, or tried to attack her on the stage of a bar. It was fun story. So yeah, go back and listen to that one. But so Carly, you're still doing the stuff on Instagram with Trust Your Message, right?
Yes,
And
we are.
then you've got a book that we're going to talk about.
Yes,
You're doing modeling now, if I see that correctly.
correct.
And then did I see something about acting in there too? Was that another?
A little bit of I wear many hats.
Okay, and the last thing there for Breeze is doing a podcast. She's got that coming up. So I had already mentioned to her on Instagram whenever she gets that up and running to you guys let us know. We'll be more than happy to maybe even have her on or cross promote or do whatever we can because yeah, I just saw that on there. So yeah, you guys got a
Oh,
couple of
that's
things going on.
awesome.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so start off wherever you want. I mean, the point
Okay.
is for you to try to. We wanted to have you back on to talk about all these things you got going on, and let people realize what you're up to over the last few months. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me on here again. You were the first podcast episode or first podcast I had ever done. So it was a really great experience, and you guys have always been very supportive and kind and on my journey and all the, activities and hobbies and everything I get involved with. And you're just super, just supportive people, and I really appreciate you both, and I'm very grateful to be on here again. So I just wanted to start off by saying that.
Well,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
and yeah, you're welcome, and thank you, and everyone, listen to that. Somebody said something nice about us, so we appreciate that. But no,
Yes.
seriously, thank you.
Yes, no, of course, and thank you. And yeah, so a couple of things that I've dove into that we'll talk about today, but the main focus is going to be the book, which is now live as an audiobook. And so basically the book that I wrote is a poetry book about recovery called Human Behind the Mask. And that is something that I wrote during my recovery once I got sober, and that talked about the topics of mental health, addiction, and body dysmorphia. And Breeze, my girlfriend, being in the music industry and production and all of that, creative stuff, we decided to put two and two together, and we actually just launched an audiobook that went live this week.
Nice.
um yeah, and basically what that is it's I narrated it, so it's my voice and I'm saying all of the poems. And then she, being, like I said, being in that music industry, she actually produced the music that goes behind all of the poetry and the theme of it. So it's really, really cool. All the music matches really well, and each of the series has their own little genre of music. And so we're actually doing a listen party, an audiobook like launch listen party in Nashville, because that's where she lives, next weekend. So next weekend is my 1 year sober and our listen party for the audiobook.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's something too. Just let people know. I mean, where's it going to be? If I don't know if we have anyone that listens in Nashville. I don't know where people are, but hey, let people know.
Yeah, it's next Saturday, February 17th at home. It's a studio for producers in Nashville. And so it's going to be, we have a really cool sound system. We're going to have some non-alcoholic beverages, and I think some people from the poetry and music community are going to come out. So it's going to be just really fun, and we're going to, play it really loud and be able to hear. Yeah, I mean, Breeze, be able to hear the music that's involved in it. And so yeah, we're super excited about that. And just it's our first project that we worked on together, because we both have a lot going on independently that we do, and we're both very creative people, and we're in the different industries, but both creatives. So it was really cool to come together on a project, and also the fact it's about recovery and we're both sober. So it was, we're hoping it's really impactful and people really enjoy it. And yeah, it sounds absolutely amazing. I actually asked her before the podcast if she would send over some clips to you guys. So she's going to email those over to you so you can kind of listen to some samples.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so that's the gist of the audiobook in my 1 year, because we wanted to launch it around my 1 year, and it actually came out a little earlier, which was great. So we're really excited about that. And then independently, we're both just doing, yeah, we both stay really busy. I don't know if I've told you guys what I do. My full-time career is actually a residential home designer.
Right.
So I do that, you know, that's my full-time career that I'm always very active with and very, very busy with. And then I juggle a bunch of things on the side. And that really helps with sobriety, and staying sober is just staying busy for me. It's, distracting. And every time I get a craving, it's like, well, I have so many little hobbies and things I'm involved with that I can just I can just bounce around from one thing to the other. Um, so yeah, this week was my first acting gig, which was really fun. Um,
So where did you get? I guess step back. What, where, and how?
oh, so just by being in the modeling world, I actually have been doing that for 2.5 years. I was trained in runway walking, and I was trained in posing and commercial and print, like modeling and all of that. So I'm trained at modeling. I just hadn't really pursued it because I had it, I wasn't on this journey. And now that I'm on this journey of my sobriety journey, I'm really just honing in on all of the activities across the board that I'm interested in, that I didn't really, before I enjoyed it, but I didn't really like make the time for it. I was always busy with work, and then it was, you know, doing other things that I'm no longer doing. So
Right.
so now I'm able to really focus on it, and you know i I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's fun because it's a different creative path. But it's still creativity, so I can design the homes, and that's how I can keep my mind busy with work, and then I can also keep my mind busy with different gigs like modeling or acting. And I love to paint, I draw, all kinds of write poetry, all kinds of just creative fun stuff. To I really, really recommend to anybody in recovery to just what's the word, when you like tapping into your creative side, like
Right.
letting things out artistically in some sort of creative form, whether it's starting a podcast or I don't know, there's so many things you can do, but just keeping yourself busy and occupied. And it's almost like you have to like have something to look forward to. And that's kind of what the modeling is for me, because each time I do it, it's something different. It's, you're working with different people, you're doing a different look, you're doing different poses, it's changing it up. And kind of with the design, same thing with the houses. Each house, it's different, it has its own personality. Writing poetry, each poem different, focuses on a different theme. So it's just been really, really nice to just kind of have those creative outlets. And they've helped get me to this point of almost at 1 year sober.
Well, and that's the one thing that and Mike's favorite line, right, Mike, is what will we do when we get sober, right?
Exactly. God,
I
life's going to be
know,
so
right?
boring if we're not getting loaded anymore.
That's how I felt. I was like, what am I going to do? Sit around and twiddle my damn thumbs?
Well, and the funny part too is that when Mike and I first got sober, and we talked about this a million times, but we were in a sober living facility, in the actual facility for 3 months, went into a 3/4 house. We were there within the Keating Center, let's say, system for what, year and a half, right, Mike? 18
Right.
months roughly in that area.
hmm
And then he and I moved in together. And even during that first, until I moved back to Wisconsin, and I know you stayed really active after I moved, but that first 3 years, I mean, I remember that it was once we started working, we'd go to work, we'd get home, grab something to eat real quick or not, and then go to a meeting, come home, and then maybe eat, watch an hour of TV, and go to bed. And then that was our day. And then, so we got to be involved and really immerse ourselves in recovery. But then, we start to, excuse me, you know, get relationships back, and now you got things going on with family, and then you got friends, and then you get all these different things. And it that first year, I think, is huge, and I know it's huge for us, Mike, just to stay busy, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, you're not medicating yourself, you're not nursing hangovers, you're not chasing whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
getting loaded takes a lot of goddamn time.
It does. It does. I didn't realize it takes up your time, and now I realize it's like, oh my gosh, I have all this free time, and
Right.
it's like, it's like I don't have those days anymore where I'm like out for a day and then, because I'm so hungover or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, and now it's just filling those time gaps, and that's why everyone's like to me right now I have so much going on, and it's like, but I almost need to, in order for me to stay sober, I need to be busy. I can't just sit, and because that's when I start to, wanting, like, having my cravings and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't,
Getting in your own
crave.
head.
Yeah, craving for me, cravings haven't gone away. It's almost a year. They have not gone away, but they're not as intense when I'm busy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that I remember hearing something very early, and whether or not you've heard this yet, or if you may end up hearing it from somebody. People used to say every once in a while, you can only hide in the room so long, meaning that you got to get out there and enjoy life. But then we had people that really knew what they were talking about. They're like, do whatever you got to do, man. Go to a lot of meetings, or stay busy like you are. Whatever we got to do, whatever gets us through and keeps us sober is what we're doing, as long as we're not doing anything harmful, which you're not. So I was smiling, but also kind of laughing when you were telling me all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired just thinking about it. But there's nothing wrong with that. And like Mike and I, we just talked about this last episode, or a couple episodes ago, that both of us love having nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And but I mean, we've been sober a couple of years, but that's not even the
And
time
we're
isn't.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
tired. I'm
thanks,
tired.
Carly. Thanks, Carly, for agreeing with that. I appreciate
No, I
it.
didn't agree. I just laughed.
You did. That's okay. It's all right. We're fine. But the thing of it is, and it's not just the time we've been sober. It is the quality and what we've done and the work that we've done. So whatever cravings you're feeling or that sort of thing, those will continue to dissipate. You may not. I still think, Mike and I talk about it. We've had alcohol dreams, we've had drug dreams, we've
Oh
had,
my gosh, yeah.
thoughts about things like that.
Sure.
They don't necessarily go away, but
Mm-mm.
right, Mike?
Right, but the obsession gets lifted. I'm not
Right.
obsessed with it anymore. Yes, I'm going to think about
Oh,
it. Yeah, it's going to be in my conscious for the rest of my life. That's fine, but I'm not obsessed. I'm thinking about it all the time. Do I think about it? Of course, but not constantly, and
Right.
that's fine. Yeah, and when I do think about it, I go, yeah, and then I think about it a little more and go, how's that going to end up making my life better? It's not. It's going to make it worse, and and then I move
yeah,
on. Then there's the next
yeah,
thing to do.
Yeah,
yeah.
and you can be obsessed with things that you're doing. You can be obsessed with your, this positive poetry and this production that you and Breeze did, and the modeling, and your day job, and all these other things that you're doing. These, you can have that. And I don't. Obsessing is one thing. When it's a positive, I look at it as being passionate about it. Whereas when we were all seeking alcohol, drugs, whatever the hell it is that we were seeking, that's the obsession. But I mean, these are all passion things for you. It sounds like, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And they, like I said, they keep my mind occupied so that it doesn't, because the minute that I'm not focusing on, it's kind of like, oh well, how can I know how I can fill my time, but I know that's not the answer. So I just have to keep myself really busy. And it's funny because you guys said something about the drug and alcohol dreams, and I have those ever since I've come a lot up to like my 1 month until 1 year. I keep having like these nightmares where I like drink or drug, and I wake up like sweating, like, oh my gosh, I have to start my year. I have to start my year over.
Mm,
I don't know if
Yeah.
you still, if I don't know if those dreams ever go away, but I have those like nightmares, and I wake up and I'm like, oh wait, it was just a dream. Okay, don't have to start one whole year over.
yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when yes, I still have them, not as often, but I still have them. And yeah, you wake up and you look around and you go, it was just a stupid dream. I'm still
Yeah.
sober. Everything's good. Yep. And then and then you're grateful. Yeah, I'm still sober, and I got another day to be sober again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like you said about how I about going to the meetings and everything, and somebody, saying you've got to get out, and some people having their opinions about whether or not you should be going to meetings or you should be out getting your life back or whatever it is. I agree with you in the fact that it's whatever is going to keep you sober, and everyone's different.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and really, when it comes down to it, fuck them. I mean, we're all on the same path, but we could do it differently. And the key is at the end of every day, is that, are you still sober? And to Mike's point, are you making your little corner of the world a better place? And those are his words. I mean, I didn't make that
Hmm.
up. He did, or he stole it from somebody, but
I
it's a good
probably
one.
stole it, but I don't remember from who.
But we
I
we use
love
it.
that.
We use it all the time. We're just sitting here trying to make our corner of the world a little bit better today. And
Hmm.
if I didn't hurt anyone and I stayed sober today, I may have had other problems or issues or things like that, but that's a win. And there's a
Yeah.
there's a lot of opinionated people, and I know that you've gone to probably still do like AA meetings and things like that. You find some judgmental people in certain meetings. If you don't like the way people are at one meeting, we've said this to other people. There's other meetings. Don't necessarily stop going to meetings. Find one that fits you.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that there's millions. There, if not thousands. If nothing else, there's so many meetings out there. You can pop online. You can do all these different things, and it's all about
Yeah.
connection and people with you've got what you're doing with just doing something from a sobriety based thing. You've got sober connections. I mean, so do we through this and Instagram and that sort of thing. We don't know you, but I mean, I consider you a friend, and it's somebody
Yeah,
that we
same.
met, that we met through sobriety. And so these connections are huge.
Yeah, they really are. They keep you going, and it's like nice to have the encouragement too from other people and people who get it too, because I once I reactivated my account, I have a bunch of people who follow me and stuff, but a lot of them are, I've known my whole life, and I don't know people's stories unless they post about it, but like I don't know if they struggle with addiction or not,
Right.
but to my knowledge they don't. So I like having the sober community because I feel the support and I feel the connection a little more than like when I guess with the people who are recovering out loud. Um it's nice to have them in your corner and them liking your stuff and everything, because even though people, who aren't, maybe like I said, they might not be, I don't know their personal lives, but to my knowledge aren't addicts, they're supportive. But it's different when somebody has experienced those similar things that you have, and then you make that connection with them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Of
absolutely.
course.
Yeah, I mean, we can go anywhere. And I was in Myrtle Beach a couple of weeks ago, and I went to a meeting. And I walked into this club, and I went to two meetings, one on a Friday and one on a Saturday. Basically same group of people both days. But I could have been in a meeting in Wisconsin or Cleveland or any other places I've been. They're the same people, not really, but we're all speaking the same language. They all understand. I hear the same stories, and that is comforting. I can go
Yeah.
anywhere in the world, and I have friends. Just
Yep.
by walking into a room of Alcoholics Anonymous, I've got a room full of people who get it, who get me and understand me, regardless of what I'm feeling or saying. It's that whole, the sober community is cool. Instagram and all that stuff is great, but really when you start to meet people in person at some of these meetings like that, I mean, it's almost unexplainable.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome, and it's good to have different connections and a support system, and it's when you meet the people and in person and stuff, and let's say that you're having a bad day, or I have my connections from rehab, and they live in the same town as me, and if I'm having a bad day or something like I was having the other day, I can text them and meet up with one of them. And it's a little bit different than the online, people that you meet and everything. It's not like you can go grab a coffee with them or I don't necessarily call them on Instagram and like vent, but
Right.
um so it's nice to have a whole, all the sober community, just all the options. I guess you have your people you meet online, then you have your people if you go to meetings or rehab that you meet in person, and then if you're having a bad day or something, you can just meet with them and see them physically, and that helps a lot. So it's just, I guess we're kind of, there's meetings everywhere and things that, because we're everywhere, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, we're all, yeah, Mike and I were talking about that once, the first couple of meetings that I went to, and they were big meetings. I'm like, where the fuck did all these drunks come from? And I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's, plenty of people out there, but when you see, 100 people or 200 people or 300 people or God, Founders Day, 8 or 10,000 people that are standing in a stadium, it's mind blowing, but in a very positive way, So, just real quick with your book, so I can't remember what Instagram page I listed in the promos this week, but is your book linked through one of your Instagram pages, or which page is it linked to?
Uh, oh, you mean the promotion that's going on for my book?
No, I mean, like when I was doing, because when I'll do this episode description, it's going to have a link to your Instagram, and also, do you want me to? I mean, I'm guessing your book is available on Amazon and that sort of thing. But so if somebody's on Instagram and they went to one of your Instagram pages, can they click? Is there a click through link to Amazon, or do you have that at any of your Instagram pages, or no?
Yeah, on the by Carly and Marie one. So that one is like because it's like that's my like author page. That's why it says by Carly. I
Oh,
have I have quite a few. I'm like a very, very busy lady.
well, yeah. And when you said to email you at a different one, I'm like, oh, okay, so I got that one. Let me just see what page I have on there. But yeah. So tell us about the modeling thing. Are you doing another like in a whole other Instagram thing on that, or just doing that through your normal Instagram page, or how are you going to promote that, or what are you doing?
I started a separate page for that. So I have quite a few. I have my main one, which is Carly Reed. Then I have the by Carly, which is that's like my author page. That's why it's like by Carly Reed. You know what I mean? Like when you write
Right.
a book or something. So that's my author where page, kind of my artsy page where I post things that are by me, like a poem or writing or art, things like that. And then the modeling page, which is going to be where I do my photo shoots and stuff like that. I'm I don't know I guess my mind's a little everywhere right now with everything, and I'm trying to understand how to promote things and also what's going to work and stuff. Like, do I want to do I want to write another book? If so, okay, or that's great. I have the Instagram that's directed towards that. So if I want to, become, I guess I'm leaving my options open. And then I have my modeling page because it's like, okay, I don't want to be, I have on my main account, I have people's like, my friends from elementary school and their grandmothers following me. So it's like, I kind of want to try and separate that a little. So
Sure.
I'm just seeing like what works. Like if I'm trying to like have my different accounts, but they're target niches. So the trust your message, that one's obviously that targets the recovery addiction community, sobriety community. So and that's like my favorite one because Breeze and I share that, and it's doing great, and it just feels good to post those other people's stories and see all the support and encouragement that it gets. So
Right.
that one, trust your message, and then the artistic one, the main one, and the modeling one.
Well, and what I'll do, because when I did just the promotions for our upcoming guest, I had your Carly Ann Marie read, but I'll change when I do this description. So everyone, take a look at the description because it'll be on here by the time you're listening. I'll direct them towards the by Carly Reed page, so that's where your book is. Okay.
Yeah, and that's also where we're doing a campaign launch for the audiobook and the paperback, and that one is going to be having information and posts and stuff that have to do with specifically with the book, which I don't post specifically about the book um on my other accounts.
Okay. Can I make a suggestion for you to try to make your life a little bit easier with this stuff? And we don't use Linktree, okay?
Okay.
I looked into it when we first started the podcast. A couple of months in, Mike was up in Milwaukee, hanging out. We were hanging out for a few days, and that's when we set up the webpage, our podcast webpage, long before our merchandise and things like that. So we decided to go all webpage where it's access to everything, so people can get to our store, our podcast, anywhere it's played, all that stuff. So we went that way. Okay. But
Yeah.
it's basically the same thing. It's all sober, not mature shit. But for
Yeah.
you've got all these different things, right? And
Mhm.
I looked into Linktree, and I'm just thinking about it from Instagram. In my opinion, is great on one end, but it's not so great on the others. And I heard this to begin with, and other people have said it too. Instagram's goal is to keep people within Instagram. So
Yeah.
that's why you can't post website links and things like that, external links. But Linktree is how people get around it. So for you, for instance, if you had a Linktree page that had all your information on it, it could have your poetry stuff, your modeling stuff, your trust your message page, everything. And then on each one of your Instagram pages, you just have a link to your Linktree. So then people have one click to see everything for you from every one of your pages. You could have 7 different Instagram pages, but all of them point to the same Linktree. Okay.
Yeah, that I do. I have a link tree.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
and
I
that was
do.
just, yeah, when you were just saying your mind's all over the place about which way to promote, where to put it, I'm like, I don't use it, but I know people who do, and it seems pretty,
Yeah.
depending on what you're using it for, and you've got a lot of shit going on. It'd be nice if it was in one place, for you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, I do. I have a link tree and I have a website too. And the website, what I did on the top is I broke down the tabs. So like one tab is for the book, one tab is modeling, one tab
Oh,
is
so you got it all set up. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that. I didn't realize. I guess I didn't pay attention. I think we follow you on all your pages, but I guess I didn't realize the differences. But I'll make sure that we have the link to the creative one with the book, so then people can hit the link to get to Amazon. But worst case scenario, the book, audiobook, people can access that through Amazon. Worst case scenario, to look up the book and say the name of the book again, so people know, because people have a no attention spans.
It's
Right.
Human Behind the Mask by Carly Reed.
Okay, perfect. And that'll be in the description part too. So cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, I don't know. I mean, I think you talked a little bit about how the book and the poetry and stuff came about. Was this literally just that when you got sober, you started writing and you're like, I want to do more. I want to add to this. I want to do this. And that's where all the entire book idea came from? Or how did all these things come to mind? Is it just trying to keep you busy, or how did that all come about?
So when I got sober and I was fighting cravings really bad, um, I would start writing, and I just realized I started kind of rhyming the words when I was writing, and I just kind of started expressing my pain in a poetic way. And and my thing was, when I had a craving, I was trying to figure out why, because they say that when you're having it when you have an addiction, you're running from something, and I didn't know what. I mean, I had an idea, but I didn't know. I wanted to really pinpoint. And as I just told you about all my different Instagram pages, I can't pinpoint. So that's how the book came about, because there's a lot of underlying things that I was writing about. And so, I realized, like, oh, I'm my mood's switching, and then I come to find out I have borderline personality disorder. So I actually was like writing about the different personalities fight, like, competing with themselves. And so I just realized, like, and then another thing writing about was like, oh, I'm writing because I feel insecure today about the way I look. And then come to find out, like, oh, I have really bad body dysmorphia. So which, kind of tied into the addiction part of it. So it's like, okay, so I was using because I was then it started to all make sense. It was like, okay, so I was using because I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to be hungry. So I had my, drug of choice for that. Oh, I was using because I didn't like the way I felt. My emotions were off, and I was on an emotional roller coaster, and I wanted to feel normal. So it all started to kind of make sense. It was like putting a puzzle together as I wrote, as to why I had these cravings and why I used in the first place. And it allowed a lot of grace and compassion for myself. And as I wrote about it, I just made it my goal, like, okay, my poems are going to be pretty, like, hard hitters, because they're going to be very, like, vulnerable and raw and authentic, and what's the word I'm looking for?
True,
Confronting.
truthful.
Yeah, truthful and confronting. but they all are going to have a light at the end of the tunnel, because that's what I was searching for. And then what I realized is, as I would share I started to tie in my poetry with, okay, now I'm going to paint a piece that goes with this poem. Okay, I'm going to do a photo shoot. So then I tied in my modeling, like to go along with the theme of this poem. And then it just kind of all wove together. And basically then what happened is, as I started to share my poetry, I got a lot of positive feedback and a lot of, people it was giving me that connection that I was, I was isolated for so long. And then my poetry was a way of connecting with people, even people who weren't addicts, who could relate because, oh, they also had, a mental health disorder, or they also had body dysmorphia or an eating disorder or some sort of, so I was able to kind of touch the hearts of different people, not just addicts. And then that's when I kind of realized, like, I'm going to take these different series, and I'm going to put a book together. And because I feel like you don't have to be in recovery and you don't have to be an addict to connect with my poetry or my book.
Right.
And I strongly, I know that anyone who reads it is going to feel seen and heard and somehow be able to connect with it. So that was my goal for that, and that's how that happened. But it didn't happen on purpose. Like, I never thought I would publish a book ever. I never thought I would get into poetry. If you would have asked me, like, you know, before I entered recovery, I would have been like, poetry's like weird. So the fact that I ended up getting into it and ended up turning my pain, it was a way to turn pain into something beautiful. And I realized how poetic pain could be. And it was a really fascinating thing. It really helped me embrace all my flaws.
Right. Well, and Mike, you'd probably know more about that from the artistic side of things. I mean, isn't that's kind of like the deal with a lot of musicians and artists and things like that, is turning some of that pain into something creative, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And from a recovery standpoint, taking our pain and helping someone else. That's how it gets better. That's the best way to make it better for ourselves, because it is selfish. Right. We're taking this crap that we've gone through and we're relating it to other people and helping them and letting them know that they're not alone and there's a solution.
Yeah, exactly. And then you kind of, you kind of connect with people, and different people can relate because of their experience, or they don't relate but they just like your work. So, like, for
Hmm.
example, if you're, young, or you haven't been in love, or what, and you listen to a Taylor Swift song about a breakup, you might not be able to connect or understand. But then after you go through your first breakup, you're blasting Taylor Swift. So it's like, that's just kind of the way art works, and you just produce it based on your experience, and then people come across it and they either relate or they don't. But my hope, I strongly think that the poetry is so touches on so many different topics that it can relate with a lot of people.
Well, and I thought one of the best things I kind of laughed at when you said that none of this happened on purpose. I mean, that's kind of there's so many of these things that turn out to be either helpful or fun or entertaining or whatever, fill a void. That's what this whole podcast thing did. And that's the reason I said fill a void. I felt kind of a void-ish at the point that we started this and kind of needed something. I was listening to the podcast, but then, almost from an egotistical standpoint, right, Mike? We're like, fuck, we can do that,
Yeah, right. Exactly. And
and
it
it
turns
had,
out we're actually kind of touching people and helping them too. So that's a
yeah,
bonus.
I know. And to begin with, and Mike will even still say he doesn't care. I think he does a little bit now, but because we get some of these comments from people and just random comments, and then we meet all these nice people like you and Breeze and all the other guests that we've had on, that become part of this whole recovery life that we have. But on top of that, it gave Mike and I, and this goes back to the selfish side of it, it gave Mike and I an outlet every single week to talk about our recovery. And to begin with, we were like, if people listen, that'll be cool. If they don't, fuck them. And
Yeah.
even to this day, and I look at it, I keep an eye on the number of plays, and our episode plays have been down over the last probably month or so. I don't know why, but our age group has changed. We've got our largest age group now is like the 35 to 44 range, where it used to be the 45 to 49. And then we've got some of the younger crowd now. I don't know where these people are fucking coming from, but I mean, somehow we're getting in touch with people, and there's a core group of people clearly that listen to us, and maybe don't hate us completely, and even if some of them do, then same thing. If people don't like what we're doing, then fine, fuck them. Say same thing with you, but you've got all these you've got a far more positive thing going on than we do.
Oh,
um you
that's
know
not true.
well, I don't know. I mean, some of the have you listened to other recovery podcasts? We actually kind of make fun of them sometimes because people are so nice and they congratulate people, and we laugh. We just laugh at each other and laugh at circumstances. I don't know. It just we're a different.
You're a
Maybe we're
different breed.
there. We go. We're a different breed, and there's maybe a small percentage that every once in a while, I think we hit home with people, but and Mike is the one that ran across, and that was probably about a year ago, right, Mike, when you first started running across a lot of these normies that were listening to us just
Yeah.
because, they enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. They relate to us on some level. I have no idea what that level is, but I'm
Right.
glad they're here.
Yeah. Or they have a son or a daughter or
Sure.
family member or somebody that it helps them understand a little more by listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because it reminds me kind of my mom because, she doesn't have the addiction issue and stuff that I do, but she'll listen to podcasts and she'll follow accounts and stuff that talk about sobriety because she knows what I'm going through.
Right.
So you have people like that kind of jump on the bandwagon because they can relate, not because of their own personal experience, but because of somebody they know.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly what a couple of people said to you, Mike, right? That
Mm-hmm.
it's people in their lives that have the same problems, and they're able to it's almost like getting, I don't know, the cheat sheet on what their family member's going through.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think
Exactly.
they get some kind of comfort too, knowing that, we're still fucked up, but we're doing the thing and we're not as fucked up as we were. And there is hope there.
Yeah, exactly. There is hope, and it does, there is positivity in it. Like it doesn't have to be all bad, and not, addiction it's something you can't help, and it's helpful for people to be able to connect with others on that and realize that, especially family members who don't experience it themselves but experience it because of somebody in the family.
Right. But I mean, the same thing too is that we're having fun doing this, and I know that even though you're a lot of the things or all the things you're doing are occupying your time and taking away from cravings and things like that, I know for a fact you're enjoying yourself, and that's the key.
Yeah.
It's helping on so many different levels. I mean, you're helping people, you're filling a void, or obviously filling time and taking away from the cravings that you may have. And on top of that, to have enjoyment that comes out of it. I mean, what the hell more can we ask for, right?
Exactly. Yeah, like I love all my little I wouldn't be doing them if I didn't enjoy them, and I
Right.
thoroughly enjoy them, and I'm really really grateful that there's that there's outlets and things that I found that I enjoy that can take my mind off of the cravings. I'm grateful for that.
Definitely. And I mean, well, what do you want to wrap up with? Do you want to just kind of go over briefly again what you're doing, where people can find you, where they can find the book? Obviously we'll have everything in the description, but anything else you want to just kind of wrap up everything you talked about briefly so people know where to find you?
Yeah, so again, my name's Carly. You can find me on Instagram at Carly Ann Marie Reed. I have quite a few pages that we talked about. I am a home designer, a model, an artist, and a writer. And I just, my new book just came out called Human Behind the Mask. And you can get that on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you can buy books. And the audiobook just came out this week, and right now that's available on Amazon, but it will be available on over 45 platforms starting next week, like Spotify and Audible and all those, everywhere you can get an audiobook.
No shit. Well, that's actually very cool. Really, really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So, and anyway, yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up. Oh, and I'll be 1 year sober next Friday.
Well, yeah, definitely. When you post about it, we will cheer you on.
Right.
That's for damn
Oh
sure.
yeah. Thank you guys. I can't wait for that.
And then just remind Breeze too that once she gets the whole podcast thing in order, that and I mentioned on Instagram, but yeah, definitely make sure that she reaches out to us, and if she wants to come back on and talk about it at that point, it sounds like it's in the, I don't know, the early stages of it, but whenever it's up and running, we'll do the same thing for her too. Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will absolutely let her know. And she told me to tell you guys hi. So
Oh, tell her we say hi, Breeze.
yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, tell her. Hopefully she listens that she could hear us say hi back. What's up, Breeze? And hey, Breeze, thank you again for the whole music thing you did for us at the end. We love the fuck out of it, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so Mike, we still have the other little web promotion there for Elise and the other individuals. So I think it's probably a good time to take a break, and then we'll let Carly go. But Carly, thank you so much for coming back on, and we appreciate it. We really do.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. Again, you guys are just awesome, and I love that we've connected. So thank you so much.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carly. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and everybody hang on. We're going to have a brief word for some friends of ours, and we'll be back with just Bill and I with more nonsense right after this word.
Hey, I'm Alexandra Nyman from the Break Free Foundation.
And I'm Elise Bryson from the Sober Curator.
Join us on February 12th at the Prince George Ballroom for Break Free at New York Fashion Week, an immersive experience that blends art, design, and fashion with advocacy.
See and hear from models and designers, including Lady Cat and Troublous Designs, who are raising awareness for mental health and recovery through their love of fashion and design.
All proceeds will support the Break Free Foundation, who provides scholarships for those seeking treatment for substance use disorder. Get more information at www.breakfreefoundation.org.
All right, everyone, welcome back. And yeah, look at that. It's just us again. Magical.
Hi there.
Yeah, you know what? She's grown up so much. They grow up so fast, don't they?
They do.
No, but son of a bitch, man. I mean, it's just, I I see all these things pop up on Instagram. She's like, here, follow my new page. Check this out. This, that. I'm like, eh. So I follow. And that's why I was a little confused on which pages. But everyone, take a look at the description. Look on Amazon. We'll have everything in there, obviously, if you guys are listening to this. So, but yeah, check them out. Support her, support Breeze. Two young individuals, young by age, young in sobriety, but out there kicking some ass and doing some good things. So
doing the thing, man.
Yeah, we just we appreciate the hell out of them. So yeah, and she said nice things about us too. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, every once in a while, it's nice to have people say nice things about us.
It is, sure.
Right. So, do you have your book? Do you feel like doing your reading?
No. I mean, I don't have it. I can grab it. It's several feet away from me.
Well, and like I said, I know you don't feel good. It's up to you. I got things we can talk about. I just thought if you wanted to do the reading, then we could do that, and it might give us something to talk about.
I didn't have one picked out, but like I said, I can give me 2 seconds. I can grab it and flip it open and read something. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, let's do that. This is how we do things, just doing things on the fly. But seriously though, make sure that you guys are checking out Instagram, and if you don't follow the pages for Carly, for Trust Your Message, all those things are on her Instagram page also.
And
so
I'm back.
Definitely want to make sure that. I'm just yapping. I'm telling people to make sure they follow all their pages, Carly's pages. So
yeah, do that.
Yeah, do it.
Do it.
All right, man. Okay, Mike, over to you.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Wasn't there something? I don't know. Like I said, I'm flipping this thing open.
That's fine. Yeah, read whichever one. This will make it more fun. Just having some random shit.
All right. Well, let's try this. This was a couple days ago. February 8th. I accept the universe. Margaret Fuller. Didn't have a chance to look her up. Recovery asks that we surrender our will, that we accept life on life's terms. During our active addiction, we fought the universe or tried to bend the universe to fit our wishes. We fought not to surrender, but to keep using alcohol or drugs as long as we could. Surrender tells us to let go, to stop fighting, and to let our higher power and others in. Recovery teaches humility. Humility is about acceptance and working to find our right place in the universe. We accept help when it is needed or offered. Humility is also about accepting the fact that we are unique but not special. We accept hope instead of hopelessness. As we find our place in the group we attend, we start to accept the universe on its own terms and to find our own place within it. Prayer for the day. I accept the fact that I have an illness and I accept that I will need help. I will work with the universe instead of fighting against it. To do this, higher power, I need your strength. Today's action. Today, I will sit down and write about 5 ways I have fought the universe instead of accepting it. I will share this list with my sponsor or a recovery friend.
You know what's surprising though is out of all the readings that you do, well, this was only 2 days ago, but yeah, I remember that one like 100%. So I
All
thought it was
right.
kind of. I might have actually made a note about that one. The thing that kind of cracked me up is that, I mean, universe. That was one of the first things I wrote down because we talk about that. That not necessarily it's a the God thing or whatever. I think when one of the earlier episodes, I think we had talked about that the universe kept placing you and I together. So
Right.
whether we wanted to be or not, but so at the time we didn't realize, hey, look at this. All these years later, we didn't realize maybe it'd actually be a good thing to what the universe did, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there are forces, whatever, yeah, shit, happens, I guess, for a reason, right. And I accept that fact today.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, that,
Sure as hell don't fight against it anymore because I'm too fucking tired.
Well, and we figured out that it's fucking pointless, to try to fight against the shit because we know what
Right.
happens,
Right.
that happened all those years that we were drinking or that, drinking and using for a lot of people, that it doesn't help. It doesn't help to fight against any of this shit. Sometimes obviously we've made it very clear we still have to do the work. I can't just sit here in a chair and be like, okay,
Right.
good, make good things happen to me. I mean, that's not going to happen. I got to do the fucking work,
Yeah.
but yeah, and things, I don't know. It's a weird concept though, the fact that neither one of us believe in, well, I guess we don't have to believe in the mystical creature in the sky, but everything
Nope.
happens for a reason.
Well,
people are placed in our lives. I mean, I believe that, people come into our lives at the right time for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bad thing, they
absolutely.
came in, for the right reason because we learned something from the motherfucker.
If we're paying attention. Yep.
right.
Which is part of doing the work, paying attention.
But I wrote down a couple of things. So I wrote down surrender our will, life on life's terms. Heard that once or twice before. The fact that we fought to keep using, acceptance. I'm going to circle that one, and then unique but not special. I like that one. So because we always talk about that. I mean, obviously most people in recovery before we get sober, we feel that what's the term? Terminally unique.
Oh yeah, right. I am different than everyone else. I am special. I am entitled, and right, exactly. Nope, none of that. None of that. I'm a garden variety drunk.
So how does the term unique but special apply though? Because if we're not unique, are they looking at it in two different ways? I mean, we're different from our fellows? Would that be the unique?
I mean, we're individuals, which we are, but I mean, we're not special, and we're not. I don't know how unique we are. I could argue that one.
Right. You and I could argue anything, right?
Yeah, yeah, that I could do as well, but I don't anymore. Again, but yes, we're individuals, so there are slight variances in us, but bottom line, we're all pretty much the same. We're all humans. If you're in this little thing with us, we're all alcoholics and drug addicts. There's not a whole lot different with any of us. I mean, Bill and I have never been to prison. I've been to jail.
Right.
I never had a DUI. Bill did. Right.
Right.
We both had divorces. We both,
But I had two.
right. I've only had one. Right.
God damn,
So again,
wait a second, man. I'm starting to feel bad about myself.
no, come on now.
I know I'm not. I'm kind of proud. I'm like, I got
right.
divorced twice. I got a DUI.
That's right.
Look, we're in the same place. Look at that.
Yeah, right. And you've never been to prison, and
Right.
right, you've never spent any lengthy time in jail. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've been on a tank or two.
Just you know what? Only once that I spent overnight. I can tell that
Oh.
story. But yeah, go ahead.
No,
So-
I'm just just bringing to the point. Yes, there are variances, but real differences, no. So no true uniqueness, just little variables here and there, but that's it. We're
Right.
all pretty much the same.
Yeah, and I mean I agree with that because and that's the thing. The reason I wrote that down is because it used those two words, unique and
Mhm.
special, which I think mean the same thing to you and I.
Right.
But it said in that sentence, unique but not special. But yeah, I mean I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And the surrendering our will and life on life's terms. I mean those are like first 2-3 steps in there that really comes down to it. That whole surrender and fucking life on life's terms. We've talked
Yeah.
about that endlessly, but
Right. Well,
and yeah,
and,
I mean-
and like in the reading said, we tried to bend the universe to our own will. How'd that work out?
right.
Right. Can't bend shit.
I know. Yeah, it's we tried though, and
Oh, yeah.
that goes down to the other thing that I wrote down. Fought to keep using, and that
Mhm.
is part of that bending. It's like, oh no, we're not hurting anyone. We can do this. I can figure this out. And
Right.
like I said to myself, at some point I'm going to need to kind of bend my ways. I'm going to have to ease up a little bit.
Mhm.
I end up almost dead in detox. So yeah, I guess that was the time. But
Mhm.
and then the biggest thing, obviously acceptance. We talk about that all the time, but I think and we say it, acceptance is key, right?
Absolutely. Accept the serenity prayer, man. Accept the things we can't change. Shit, there it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to fight against it.
Right.
Yeah, more often than not these days, I'm just going to, acceptance, ignore it, let it whirl. Yeah, let it spin around over there because there's nothing I can do about it. I can't stop it. I can't control it. I can't slow it down. I can't make it go faster. I can't make it go away. I can step away from it. I can not focus my attention on it, but it's going to be there. And okay, fine. Just I have to let it not affect me in a negative way as much as I can. That's where my control lies, and that's the only place my control lies is how I react to it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, even to this day, control. Fuck,
Mhm.
well, you know me. I mean, I'm still the only difference with there's some differences that my degree of wanting to control things is a hell of a lot better than
Right.
it was. I mean, and it does get better with time, and it gets better with patience. But I'm also not good at patience. But
Mhm.
here's the thing, and it just popped into my head. So I started the new job on Monday. It was all training. It's all remote. They set me all the computer equipment and things like that. I set it all up on Friday. Everything worked. I had my wireless keyboard hooked up, my wireless mouse, the whole bit. I'm all set for, Monday morning. So I turn the computer on before I had to log in, this and that. I go back and my keyboard's not working. I'm like, well, fuck, I kind of need a keyboard, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, to me, it looked like I thought my wireless keyboard went dead. So I had the keyboard that they sent me. I ran downstairs. I'm talking about this is like 10-2, and I'm supposed to be
Right.
out in like 10 minutes. Run down, hook that up. It's still not working. This, that, the other thing. All said and done, I end up connecting, to my with my Chromebook.
Mhm.
And so I'm not in the system, and all the shit worked on Friday. And the trainer's very cool about it. Like, hey, when let's just start on this. You could see, you would be in the Zoom meeting. I could be part of the training. Get a hold of IT. They look at whatever, they fix it. Then it happens again that same day.
Mhm.
Back in, they find there's some corrupt files in this thing, and then they fix it. and everything's good. And
Right.
then, the later that day, everything's fine. 3 times though, Monday, and then fine on Tuesday, fine on Wednesday, but yesterday, keyboard just stops working on me again.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, fuck, man. So all said and done, it worked today. I don't know why. They're supposed to be sending me another adapter, but I'm having, clear computer issues. And I'm actually physically feeling anxious about this whole thing, to the
Right.
point of it wasn't even, it was a little bit anger, but not really. But it was just this, again, this nervous anxiousness. And I thought about it last
Frustration.
night. Yeah, but when I went to bed last night, because I thought about it, it's what you and I talk about. I'm like, I'm not really mad, so I'm do my prayers, I do my 10 step that I do every
Yeah.
night, and I'm like, okay, so back to basics here. We talk about all this shit being fear based, and I went back. I'm like, is any of the way I'm feeling? I'm a little angry. I'm a little anxious. Is this fear based? And I thought about it. I'm like, absolutely, it was, because the fact that I don't, the tools that I need to learn to do the job, to earn the money, to
Right.
for my livelihood,
Yeah.
it are not working, and that's causing fear. It's fear for my own livelihood,
Sure.
and then
And throw a little ego in there too, because you're just starting this new thing. You want to show them how fucking fantastic you are, and it's slowing you down.
Well, in this, it did that seriously at this point had nothing to do with it, because all we're doing is we're taking in information.
Right.
Unless I'm really fantastic at taking notes, but seriously, that part of it, and I'd be the first one to say, yeah, and I'm a fucking egomaniac. After listening to calls today, I'm like, I could do this fucking shit. So my ego-ness came out today, but not during that part of it, in my head at least. But it was that fear that this is going to hold me back to not be able to do this thing, or at least that it's going to put me behind, and I don't want to be behind.
Right.
And then I'm like, last night I'm like, motherfucker, man, what we talk about is actually true.
Yeah.
You can I'm taking this work computer issue and really narrowed it down to fear. And I amaze myself. I'm like, fuck, that's awesome. I'm going to bed now. I'm going to sleep. And it's not awesome because it's a computer thing, but the fact that I was able to, run through all the shit in my head, actually use the tools that you and I talk about on here, to ease my mind so I could go to sleep. And I'm like, fuck, that's great. It's fucking awesome.
Hey, this shit works. What do you know?
Yeah, I even listen to myself every once in a while, and you. That's the thing that was the most shocking, but
right.
But yeah, so the acceptance part of it, once again, we had talked about everything. The Serenity Prayer, obviously great and clear example, accepting the things that, we cannot change, and courage, and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I like that reading. And seriously, I remember that one as clear as day. And granted, it was only a day ago, but, I think everyone's heard how bad my fucking memory is. So,
right.
Remembering something from yesterday is kind of a gift.
That's kind of neat.
It is. Yeah, it's kind of, I like it. So, anything else about the reading? And thank you for doing that. I know you're not feeling well, but I thought, yeah, what the hell? Let's do the reading. So,
sure. Yeah. So we did it. It's done.
So a couple of side note things, and the first one is. We got an email because I told you about that. Obviously, Elise wants to do the night of recovery thing in Seattle. We're trying to get one done in Cleveland. Just so you know, they sent us kind of a rough cost estimate type of thing. But one of the things that's involved is having a venue to do it.
Right.
And I'm just kind of mentioning it now, or I'll forget to let you know. But I think you said you might know of somebody that has a venue, so. When you get a minute, maybe, reach out to the person, find out, kind of let them know what we're trying to do, what kind of costs would be involved and stuff like that, because then we can start figuring out some other stuff and figure out if the Keating Center can be involved, or there's a whole layer of shit that has to be done, but the venue is the big thing. So
yeah, okay, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but this, the night of recovery, and again, the individuals we had on from Chris and Shannon a few episodes ago, or 4 or 5 episodes ago now, they're starting to do these things in different areas of the country, and if hopefully we're going to be able to bring one to Cleveland, and they're trying to do them in Florida, they're trying to do one out in Seattle. Just a good group of people doing some really good things that I think I'll say we're going to be fortunate enough, hopefully, to be involved in or with and in, and just they're doing some good work. And same thing we were talking about with Carly and Breeze, people out there doing the thing. and it's cool to be a part of something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
we will. Hey, stay tuned, everybody.
Stay tuned. More will be revealed.
More will be revealed. And may I bitch a little bit about Spotify for podcasters for a minute?
Please.
So I get this email yesterday or the day before, and it's like, oh, we're going to be doing some changes as of June of 24 and whatever date it was. And I'm like, changes in like edits, whatever, and this and that. So basically what they're doing is they Spotify for once they went to Spotify for podcasters, there's some sort of link they have with Riverside, which is, for everyone out there, that's the recording studio that we use. And I think the beginning part is like video podcasts could be loaded right up into Spotify for podcasters for video stuff, which we've never done. So whatever. But now they're making some changes. So on the Spotify for podcasters side, where I do all my editing and do my clips and all those different things, all those editing functions are going away. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because Riverside's got this very robust thing, and it's got this whole editing stuff, but it's harder to pinpoint and cut pieces like I do. It's easier to do on my phone. I could zoom in and cut these little pieces out and whatever, and I do these episode clips every day. So the background music that I use for our daily clips, that's all going away. So I can still use. I figured out a couple of things. Riverside has automatic clips, and that's what I'm going to do because I'm not going to try to fucking pinpoint all these clips out of Riverside. I love this. I love doing the editing, but I do not want to add an extra hour
Right.
trying to grab clips out of here. When Riverside, they do these magic clips. You like do this and they'll generate a bunch of 1 minute clips. That's what I'm going to use. I just won't have the music in the background anymore. But I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And I get it because now what they're going to do, and I went on just to check it today when I had some time before we started recording, they're already changing the way that you build an episode on Spotify already. Because when I first went in tonight to try to just see how it's going to be set up, they're starting to make changes already. I'm like, oh fuck, how do I even do this? So I figured out how to do it already, but I'm like, I hate fucking change.
Right.
And I'm like, I got all of this shit down. Granted, it still takes me, which I don't think is a long time. It takes me an hour and a half or hour and 15 minutes if I have no technology issues from the time that you and I stop talking to the time it's done. And that's not just cramming through, but hour and 15 minutes. I get everything set. I'm like, I've got it down to a science. I don't need any more of these fucking interruptions. So anyhow, that was just my bitching about that. But
All right.
you know what, everyone out there, you're still going to get the same quality products.
Right. Quality with a K.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. It's the one thing is just for everyone else out there, I'm not doing any more fucking work on here. You're going to get what you're going to get. And it's everything. I've got the program I use to cut it. We're still going to drop our episodes in there. I can shave off the middle stuff and whatever. I can still do all that. But yeah, I'm not doing more work because that would kind of make us even, I don't know, like professional.
Nah.
Don't want to do any of that. So that was just my bitching on that. But a little bit.
Right.
So this came up on a podcast. We've talked about it. I don't know if we've talked about it on here. So I think it's called an acronym, right? HALT, HALT.
Oh yeah. Just where the hell did I just read that the other day, or maybe
That was
this morning?
Yeah, was that this morning?
Yeah, it might have been.
Okay, so I thought I heard it on a podcast, but I think you're right. It was in one of the books. So, for anyone out there that doesn't
I think it was
know,
Keep It Simple. If you want to know the truth,
I think you're right. So the term acronym, whatever it is, HALT, HALT,
right,
stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. Okay,
right.
Which technically, that what we've always been told is that if you're any one of those four things, that could be a problem. If you're two or more, that could be a real problem.
Right.
Does that sound right? So I just thought, I don't remember ever talking about that on here, and just what your thoughts are, and I don't know which two of those or any of those, let's say, happen most for you. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or what combination do you deal with?
Well, tired.
Yeah, I guess we established that before, right?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely the one. That's the biggest one for me. Hungry, whatever. I eat just fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I've actually dropped a few pounds, and so you can't lose weight if you're not hungry occasionally.
Right.
Angry, sure. Things piss me off, but again, been doing this a while. I'm pretty good at that one now. I recognize it and realize it's not real healthy for me to be angry for too long. Too angry for too long. Little angry's okay. Um, yeah, tired. And lonely doesn't really affect me. Never has. No, that's not true. I was lonely when I was, miserable, drunk. Um, but yeah, I like my alone time. I like being alone. I work by myself for the most part. Um, I live by myself. Lonely's not an issue for me. Never is. And thankfully now, another person is all I got to do is reach out, because I have that support system now. So yeah, lonely's never there. But angry, yes, I have to deal with sometimes, and tired, yes, I have to be careful. But I get some rest. If I'm hungry, I eat something. If I'm angry, I look at why I'm angry, and we've already established it's probably because I'm scared of something, which I don't want to fucking look at, and I don't want to fucking admit, because I'm a man. God damn it, I'm not afraid of anything. Yeah, right. Afraid of fucking everything.
Right.
But again, not as much as I used to be. So yes, it is a helpful tool. It's like all the rest of it. We need to be aware of ourselves and our feelings and our emotions and all of that. But we also can't focus on them too much, and we can't let them run our lives. What runs our lives are the principles. And the absolutes, which we've talked about plenty on here too. So, if I focus on those more than being angry and lonely and tired and hungry, yeah, I'm all right.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know, just when I thought about that, and over the years, I remember hearing that pretty much right away. I think
Mm-hmm.
when we were really new, and they said that especially if you got all four of those things,
Oh yeah.
that can cause you to to drink because you get kind of a case of the fuckets and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can't say that I don't know. I probably had all four of those things at once, at least at some point
Oh
since we've
sure.
been sober. But you're that's the one too, like the lonely part. And there's a difference between, and I know you for a fact, I know you said it on here, and
Mm-hmm.
I think you said it, specifically you and I over the years. There's a huge difference from being alone and lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I worked remote years ago, and I don't mind working remote now. I don't mind alone time or anything like that, which is, part of it. I'm not saying that I wondered. There's a human connection that I really appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
but I can still get that even when I start traveling and things like that. I'll be on my own, technically, but
Right.
I go to a meeting. I can go. I
Yeah.
just even walking around to a fucking grocery store, or
Yeah.
going out someplace. I don't need to stand and talk to somebody. Just being around and
Mm-hmm.
being around people, doing this thing every week. This is
Right.
a connection. I mean, I get it. We're not face to face or anything like that, but.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I'm sure, I've had loneliness. It's not something that plagues me or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Tired, I laughed at that because yeah, every morning when my fucking alarm goes off, I'm like, fuck me.
Uh-huh.
And it's not that I don't like my life. I can say that when I'm going to do, or even the circumstance that I'm in at any one point. I could be going to do one of the most enjoyable things in my life, whatever that thing might be. When I wake up that day, I'm going to be fuck me because I'm tired, and I'm like, whether I got 6 hours or 5 hours, sometimes I've gotten like 4.5 hours of sleep and I feel better than when I've gotten
Mm.
7.5. I don't
Right.
understand that,
Mm-hmm.
and so just recently driving down to Myrtle Beach, I was up literally, by the time I got down there, 24 hours. So I was certainly fucking tired.
Yeah.
Um, I was alone the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to, I don't know how many podcast episodes and whatever other maybe music in there. I was really fucking hungry,
Oh.
but I didn't feel like drinking.
Oh.
Um, But the angry part, I would say, out of all of them, not
Hmm.
that it makes me want to drink, but I think anger is the most dangerous part for all of us. I
Right.
think, but I'll say for myself, definitely for me. You know,
Sure. Well, yeah, because I mean, it's a little tough to do the next right thing when you're all pissed off.
right?
Yeah, right. It's tough to be a good boy when you're all mad at the world. Right.
Yeah, and that's why that I've said this openly. You know that in definitely in recent years, easily that last handful of years, if not longer than that. You know, if I'm in a shitty mood, I mean, sometimes I'll just go to bed. You know, if
Right.
it's
Yeah.
thankfully if it's later on at night, whatever. And a lot of times that's what happens. You know, the day was full of bad fucking moments, and
Hmm.
a lot of them. And by the
Hmm.
time you get home and you're by yourself and you're stewing, and you're going over all this shit, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to bed."
Right. Yeah.
You know, or if nothing else, if you have to be around people at that point, I try to be quiet. You know,
Yeah.
or because I know I maybe that's the gift. You know, the gift that we've gotten over these years
Hmm.
is that understanding and we talked about it, the pause. You know, that's number
Hmm.
one in a normal circumstance. But when you're angry, that's even more difficult, right?
Oh yeah. Sure.
So because you're pissed off at something else, but somebody does or says something, and you're like, "Ugh,"
Yeah.
and then you don't. You know.
Yeah. Right. And then you don't do the next right thing because you're fucking all up in your own head. Right.
Right.
And that's I thought about this too. Each one of those things is again, it's not really selfish, but certainly internalized. Our biggest problem is the unhealthy focus on ourselves. Always. That's for me, that is again, the root of our troubles, right? Selfishness and self-centeredness. Well, it's all self-centered. I'm hungry. I'm angry. I'm lonely. I'm tired. Nobody fucking cares, man.
Right.
What about the people around you? Maybe they're fucking tired. Maybe they're hungry. But you go make them something to eat. Go make a sandwich, asshole, for somebody else.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Guess what? That's going to fucking take care of all that shit. Yeah. Right. That's it, man. It's all internalized stuff, and so yes, that's why it's so dangerous for us, because it's all me, and that's never good for us addicts and alcoholics.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about it that way, but the hungry part, yeah. When I get hungry, the only thing that if the only time I get angry when I'm hungry is if something's blocking me from eating, which usually it's not a person, it's a
Right.
circumstance.
Sure.
I'm just like because then I start to feel run down and I'll start to get a headache, and
Mm-hmm.
people say hangry, and I've never liked that term. I
Mm-hmm.
just say, and I said it years ago, that fungry, that I'm fucking hungry. That's my word. I said that to Derek one time at a restaurant. I said fungry, and I said, do you know what that stands for? And he's like, I don't know, 13 or 14 years old. And he's
Uh-huh.
like, quietly, he's like, does that stand for fucking hungry? I said, yes, it does. Yes, it does, son. And I said, I don't get hangry, man. I get fungry. I just get fucking hungry. And then
Right.
I eat something. But usually it's my own goddamn fault because I didn't plan
Mm-hmm.
ahead.
Of
If I
course.
go if I go someplace now, and it doesn't matter where, I eat apples every morning now. I eat, usually some peanuts because that puts a little bit of just substance in me, till
Right.
lunch.
Yeah.
And then I do that when I travel, whether I go up to Appleton or when I go out to Ohio or any place. I take
Mm-hmm.
a couple apples with me, and I'll have a container of peanuts that I bought, and then so I have something to eat, or I'll pack some sandwiches.
Yeah.
If I'm fucking hungry, it's my fucking fault.
Exactly.
That's why I say, when only time I would get mad about it is if somebody, which doesn't happen, nobody's holding me down going, you can't eat, motherfucker.
Right.
What? But I want to.
Please, sir, may I have some more?
Yeah, I mean,
We're not in a fucking orphanage, man, in 18th century fucking England.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not an orphanage, and I'm not 3 having somebody smack my hand because I'm trying to grab a potato chip or something.
Right.
I can go ahead and eat any fucking thing I want anytime I want. And if I don't have food, it's my own goddamn fault.
Exactly.
So yeah, it just that, and I think you're right. That might have been it. I know it was in a reading, and I think it was
Mhm.
today, and I think it was
Yeah.
Keep It Simple. So
Yep.
I'll give you that one because I
All right.
don't
I'll
remember
take
exactly, but I'm going to give you that one. So I don't know. I got one more thing, and this was, I was listening to, and once again through the traveling and stuff that I did, I popped into Mark Maron again. I haven't listened to his podcast in a while, and I mean, there's obviously he's got so many episodes in there, but
Yeah.
people that I know, but I'm like, yeah, this person, that person. So I'm flipping all the way back. I probably went whatever episode I was listening to was back in when did his that chick, his girlfriend, the blonde that died. Do you remember?
Oh God, that's been a couple years.
Oh yeah. It was easily 2020 or 21 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, I flipped way back, but it was still he was in a number of episodes after that. I mean, he was talking about it a lot. It was, I mean, you could clearly, I mean, he was fucking tore up about it. I get it. But he had said that in this one, I mean, both of us have, I mean, been clear. We're huge fans of Mark Maron, and I love listening to him. And he goes on about his politics. It's a little much. Doesn't matter what side he's on. I don't like when people go in on politics, but I can deal with it because I like him, you know. But so he said this statement, which just I just wanted to get your opinion on it.
Hey.
He said, there is nothing good about grief. And I think he said there's nothing fucking good about grief.
Right.
Okay. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I mean, you know, it's not pleasant, but I mean, if you do it properly and get through it, and you know, like everything else, work it. If you do it right, you're going to come out of the other side a little bit better than you were before. You know, adversity makes us stronger. That's real basic. You know, your muscles don't get stronger unless you're pushing against something, or something's pushing against you.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it would be wonderful if we never had to deal with it. But again, as we were talking about earlier, we have to accept that the universe is the way it is, and grief is part of it because everything fucking dies. No, of course I don't agree with it, because there's always good in everything if we look for it and we work towards the goodness in everything, even if it's garbage.
Right. You know, and it was just, it was funny because I know I was driving when, I think I don't know, whenever I was listening to it, but when he said it, it just caught my attention. I'm like, I don't agree with that. You know, because
Right.
Exactly what you said. You know, and let's go back to the acceptance part of it. Okay, the acceptance is that everyone dies, everything dies. That's a great way to put it, because it is everything dies at some point. It doesn't have to be, whether it's tragically or whether it's naturally, whatever the deal is. That's an absolute. People, things are going to die. Okay, so and unless you didn't give a fuck about the thing or the person,
right,
there's going to be some grief, right?
Yep.
So if there is grief, and I learned this firsthand, you know, between, I look at my, you know, my dad and then my stepdad and then our mom, you know, and three very big differences in between, you know, our stepdad and our mom, a huge amount of time, you know, 10 years, you know, within that time frame, more than that, a little more, but the quality of my processing through that, my dad, I didn't process it at all until after I got sober, and it took me, so you figure, you know, it was 10 months until I even, you know, came to grips with it and was able to, I don't know, even accept that and work through it, you know. Larry, you know, our stepdad, was a different story. Again, it hurts and all those sort of things, but I was able to be there for other people for the first time in my life, you know, in more of a spotlight type of situations. That's a bad way to put it, but you know what I mean? You know, not just through that time frame, that year and a couple of months. I mean, granted, I was being there for other people and you know, whatever, but that was probably the most glaring, you know, or most open one, that I was there for people.
Sure.
And I was able to process that and not have it ruin me, you know, for any amount of time. And the same thing with mom, you know, I mean, that one was a tough one, you know, coming up to it, watching all the pain and all the agony, and that was torturous, you know, just watching her deal with that illness. And then, you know, when it happened, you know, so we get to a whole nother opportunity where we have this, you know, to be able to process that. So, and you know, no, it's not a, maybe another way to put this is, there's nothing positive necessarily. It's not a positive emotion, but I think the good that comes out of it, like you said, is we become stronger for that. And, we get to show who we can really be as individuals, especially, us people, people like you and me, that were, just shitty individuals for so many
Right.
years and didn't
Exactly.
give a fuck.
And you even said, it's because we cared, because we love these people, and we, we truly cared about them, that we mourn their loss. Yes, that's how could that be bad? If we didn't give a shit, we wouldn't care.
Right.
And thankfully, we give a shit today.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. Like I said, it was, and it wasn't, again, if Mark Maron crossed my path today, I wouldn't say, listen, you dumb motherfucker. There is something good about grief. What the fuck's wrong with you? You should know better.
Yeah.
Right.
That's and he probably does. It was in the moment, and right.
Oh,
exactly.
I'm sure.
Right.
And that's why I made that point, that this wasn't, a recent episode. He was still, I mean, I know he was in the thick. He was in it. Yeah.
He was in it. And I'm sure, because he's one of us and he has the support and shit around him, that, one of his pals, one of us, looked at him and said, that's wrong. And he went, yeah, you're right. And, they moved on, because that's what we fucking do for each other.
Right. Yeah, I know. It was just, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting, I've never heard anyone necessarily put it in those words. So, it was, I don't know. I just thought it was a good thing. Whether I'd agree with it or not was not the point. It's just, I thought, it was a thinking line.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, he reran his Wayne Kramer interview that we talked about last week.
Okay.
Yeah. It was from about 10 years ago, and it was really good. I listened to it this week.
Oh, I'll have to do that.
Yeah. Check it out, man. It was a good one, because, Brother Wayne was definitely one of us and has a hell of a story. And yeah, it was good.
I'll definitely have to. And it was interesting. It wasn't the day that it happened, but like a day or two afterwards, the morning show I listened to, they do this showbiz news thing. They started doing it years ago to make fun of all the celebrities, but now they do it. They talk about births and deaths and marriages, and they mentioned him. That he had passed away. They don't mention every celebrity that died, but they mentioned him. I'm like, hey, I know that name.
Oh, I know that name.
I know that name, dude. But yeah, so speaking of that, him rerunning stuff. One of the ones, it was when I was going up to Appleton. I was all the way back when, whenever that was that Bob Saget died. He reran all three of the Bob Saget interviews, and I never listened to those. And I'm like, oh, that was, I mean, Bob Saget, he was what he was, but I thought he was interesting enough.
Oh yeah.
In the conversations that he had with him, they were fucking awesome.
Yeah, right. Yeah, actually, I listened to those when he died too. I was still on the road when that happened, so. Yeah. I was listening to lots of podcasts back then. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it was great. So yeah, just, I don't know. I bounce around through different things, and I always enjoy Mark Maron, but again, it's just certain things I'm like, I want to hear about that person, but I keep scrolling back to figure out ones that I haven't listened to. But so last thing, and this isn't a topic, but just a kind of a side note question for you. So at one point, you and I were talking about maybe talking more about like steps 6 and 7, because like when we were talking about like drop the rock or do it or whatever. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out to you again. It's not something we have to decide now, but I know that so many people, and maybe even the drop the rock mentioned that, called them the forgotten steps, or maybe you and I were talking about that. Yeah. And even though we're not necessarily going through the steps every month, now, I just think that, I think it'd be fun because both you and I realize the importance of 6 and 7 now. So I don't know, maybe we can figure out a way to, kind of blend this into our conversations, because if people are out there and you don't know what steps 6 and 7 are, if you're not part of the, the whole secret society thing, look them up though. They're interesting. And I think both of us would agree that you'll probably find something that you could use in them. And
absolutely.
I think it'd be even for people who aren't necessarily AA based, I still think you could find something in those steps. So
I think you probably still have a defective character somewhere in you.
Right. Yeah. Imagine that. Right. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I think that might be something that we can fill some time with, but also in a positive way. So, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know. This episode was interesting. I guess we'll see how it how it plays. But I like that at least the idea of having the guest on for half, and then you and I get a chance. It seemed like everything went quick, but then again, you and I have only been talking for 40 minutes. So
Right.
usually when it's you and I, we get to talk for twice that long. So
We do.
but you know what? Not today because well, you don't feel good, and we're fucking done. So I think you
We
can run
are.
us out of here.
We are definitely done. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. Thank you to Carly for coming on and talking about her book and all that good stuff. And, as always, kids, go out there, be good to somebody, be kind to somebody, do something nice for somebody else, and don't tell anybody that you did it. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. Now it is that time, kids. It is that time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
Even though you're down with the sickness, that came out pretty well. That came out pretty damn well.
Sure. It's because I feel it in my heart.
I was gonna say I knew you couldn't say that without laughing.
Lunger.
I couldn't listen to it without laughing. So, all right, man. Well, you know what? I think you should feel better.
I'm gonna try.
I know we'll talk soon, but I love you, brother. And yeah, we'll
love
talk
you
soon.
too. All right.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.